Hello, Alicia.
Good.
Yeah, hi, Alicia. My name is Steven. I'm a realtor, and I was just hoping to tell you real quick why I was calling, and from there you can decide whether or not we keep talking. Does that sound fair?
So I want to kind of just tell me overall though, like when you said things are going well,
Yeah.
from a business perspective, give me the 30,000-foot view of like what things look like in the business right now.
Uh, January was a huge month for me as far as volume, dollar volume of listings taken. I took over $4 million worth of listings in January.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So let me stop right there. So you took $4 million worth of listings in January.
Yes.
Where did those come from? Let's kind of break that down a little bit.
It was 3 expireds and 1 FSBO. So I started really diving into expireds in December, and it's funny because all 3 of them are people I started talking to in December, and they weren't really ready to do anything until the turn of the new year. So I just kept following up and got appointments with them in January.
All right, got it. So the conversion cycle for those, the expireds at least, were
Yes.
all 3 first contacted pretty much in December, and then you convert them all in January?
Yeah. In fact, one of them I actually met in December, and the others I just had to follow up until I could meet with them in January. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that makes a lot of sense, right? So we talk about this 4 to 6 week conversion kind of process. And that's kind of what you found with those 3. Now tell me about the for sale by owner. Had that been a longer conversion cycle, or did you make that first
Yeah,
contact in December too?
that was a long one. That one was interesting because uh, I was calling and calling, and the wife was the one was the contact. But when I finally got an appointment scheduled to come see the house, it was her husband I met with. And her husband's much more open to hiring a realtor than she is. So I did the preview. I kind of showed him everything, gave him a ton of advice, and he loved it. I mean, like I think he was ready to hire me that day, but he knew his wife wasn't. So I had to follow up. And what I made the mistake of doing is I kept following up with him because he's the one I kind of had the interaction with, the relationship with.
Sure.
I could never nail down another appointment. So one day it just hit me. I need to call the wife again.
Right.
And so I did, and I got her to agree to an appointment, but she was throwing at me every piece of bait you talked about. I can't see myself ever hiring a realtor. I have a friend in the business that I've known for 20 years, and I can't see myself ever paying for her things. And she just kept reiterating that. So she let me come right?
Yeah.
And I just kind of showed my value, the perception value that we talked about, that you have to sell. One thing that's become so powerful for me is that I've learned in my presentations not to try to sell the value per se of what I do during the process, as far as like, here's my marketing plan, this and that. I learned to sell the perception of value, make a feeling. I sell them the feeling.
It's
Whoa,
amazing.
this would be awesome to work with this guy because he's teaching us things, he's helping us realize things, and he's got, he really knows the business. I sell that perception.
That's really good. And let me have you just really quick. I'll add something really fast to help you solidify that thought as you move forward in your career. Is like selling the vacation, not how you get there. And so what I mean by that, and you nailed it, right? Maybe I've shared this with you before, but so many people are selling the waking up really early, having to drive to the airport. You're gonna sit to a bunch of people that are sneezing on you on the plane ride, and then when you get there's going to be a layover. It's like, you don't need to get into all that. You know what I mean? Sell the vacation. Like, how is it going to feel when you're sitting on the beach with your wife, sipping on a Mai Tai in 85-degree sunny weather, right? And you've got somebody waiting on you hand and foot, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what you're saying, and so you've been able to get out of feature dumping, essentially, like
Yes.
all these things. People don't care.
I don't really even talk about, here's my marketing plan. I
Exactly.
almost never talk about that. And that was the crazy thing. So I'm there, I'm sitting in front of this lady who said she'd never pay more than 3%. And they ended up hiring me at a full commission. that same night. And
What
it's,
was it that what happened to get her kind of over the hump where she's like, wow, what was it specifically, do you think?
I don't know if it's specific. I think it's so much of how I've learned to present and practiced what you've taught me. The days on market presentation is really key, I think,
Yeah.
because it just helps people. One, it helps people learn, because people don't think about the whole process and everything you go through selling the home 3 times. Nobody I've ever said that to didn't go, what do you mean? Like, yeah, tell me, what does that mean? And so it makes them realize things, but they start seeing you as an advisor, as somebody who understands the whole process. And then I also, like I said, I've learned to sell the perception of value. I have a whole presentation where I talk about my 3 strategies for getting the top dollar, and it's price bracketing, how to capitalize on the opening week, and what I do for negotiation throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
And all that I've learned from you. And like I said, I don't have to jump in the marketing plan at all. People start going, whoa. Like,
that's exactly right. And it's amazing. So that's great. That's really good. So, all right. So January, so were those the 4 listings? And so what, they were all $1 million each?
No. So one of them, it's crazy. It's actually a $3 million expired.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. I remember you got that. All right, cool.
Expired at 3.2. Yeah.
And
one was 750,000, one 600,000, and one is, well, those are the 3. And then I'm trying to remember what the 4th is. I think it's 400,000.
I mean, all really good price points.
Yeah.
So
No, one was 275. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So you took 4 in January. What did you close last month in January?
That's the thing. I closed one that had come from prior efforts. So, gosh, I'm sorry, my head's all over the place right now.
That's okay. So you closed 1 in January, though?
I closed 1 in January. Yeah.
All right, got it. And then tell me about the current inventory. So you have these 4 are active. Did any of them go pending yet? Or are they active still?
I've got one. Well, I got 1 pending.
1 pending, and then
some of them are still yet to be listed. Like one I just
got
put
it.
coming soon yesterday.
All right, so you got 1 pending, and then do you have any active right now?
Yeah, the $3 million listing.
Got it. How's that one going so far?
Haven't, it just went live on Thursday.
Okay.
I haven't gotten any calls on it yet, but I mean, it's for the area it's in. It's a high price point. It's a niche property, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, good. And then remind me too, what is your 2022 goal?
300,000 GCI.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, good. So, yeah, that's really good. What else? So tell me about like your mindset going into like the rest of the year. Like, do you feel, is there something about your business, Stephen, that you feel like is still needing a lot of help? Or do you feel like now it's all about continuing to execute and stay consistent?
It's definitely continuing to execute and stay consistent. I think once I have my wife on board and we both have a clear picture of how that works, I think that's my big challenge this year is coordinating with my wife, going through that rubber band effect you talk about taking a step back and us figuring out how we do the business together. That's going to be the big thing for me this year. And for me, it's always mindset. I still struggle with a bit of the whole imposter syndrome.
Sure.
I'm starting to take these big ticket listings, but I worry about them every time. Like, is somebody going to actually buy this one, or I'm going to disappoint my clients?
Yeah, I get it.
And just getting through that whole mental journey.
Yeah, so you're in a constant journey of like proving things to yourself,
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and you keep breaking through, I mean, which is great. So going back to your wife, the whole goal there is because as you continue to succeed, the time that you're spending in like non-revenue producing activities is also increasing, which is pulling you away from generating new business. Is that what you're experiencing? Why like you want to bring your wife into the business?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that what I've gotten good at, like setting appointments, going on appointments, that kind of thing. That's something my wife would never want to do.
Right.
But she's really good at admin style work, all the little extra things that need to be done to support a, back end of a business. And so I think we're going to work great together because of that. Complementary
Yeah. I mean, that's what you
skills
need.
and interests.
That's kind of like the next step for you. So with what you're doing now, because she doesn't work with you right now, correct? Like that's what you're trying to
Correct.
get to.
I mean, she's helped me with some things, but
Sure.
yeah.
So like right now, are you still able to prospect 5 days a week?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say I'm not able. There are some days I don't.
Sure.
Just, I let things get in the way. I don't make that time sacred, so to speak. But most weeks, yeah, I can at least get some prospecting in. That's something I've learned. It's like it's better to get on the phone, even if it's for 15 minutes, than to have not done it that day.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So do you have a contact goal, or like based on the business plan, and maybe, we could spend a second just crafting that. Do you know how many contacts you need to make daily right now?
I don't have my business plan at hand.
You
I
should
did
have
it
that thing in your
using.
hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When I did it at the summit, and I've done it a couple times using your basic numbers.
Yep.
I would need something like 22 contacts a day, and I almost never hit that. But I think my conversion ratios are significantly better.
Yep.
So that's where I haven't dialed it in. What are my actual conversion numbers? What would I need to absolutely do? And what I found for me to keep me in action and keep my mindset right is I use a time goal rather than a contact goal.
Sure.
Because, if I can get myself to at minimum prospect for an hour every single day, that keeps me in action. And then it's like, I often will do, if I get myself going, an hour 15 or an hour 30, but the goal is an hour focused.
Got it. Yeah. And that makes sense. So let me share a couple pieces of opportunities for you real quick. So
yeah.
One thing for sure is on the business plan template, there's a spot in there to do a monthly business review. And so what you just said is exactly what happens every time, right? So the business plan, when you drafted it at the beginning of this year, said you needed to do 22 contacts per month, or I'm sorry, per day. But then what you said was my conversion ratio is better than that. And so I'm tending to reach my goal without having to do that, because I rarely ever hit 22 contacts per day. So what I would love to see happen is every month we're tracking to see, okay, how many actual conversations did I have this month? How many leads went into my database as a result of those conversations? How many appointments did I set? How many did I go on? How many did I get? How many did I close? So that the thing that I find most productive when it comes to like staying consistent is, we talked about this a second ago, is like you versus you, right? Like the game becomes the competition between month over month against the business plan. So that's why the way we crafted it was a working document, right? Something that would stay with you all the time, because at the beginning of the year, 22 might not be the number for you, right? And so in 300,000 in GCI, how many transactions do you need to do in order for you to hit that goal?
Well, I was imagining on a 10,000 average income, but honestly, I think it's going to be higher than that. But the plan is essentially with that 30 listings.
30. So let's keep it there, right? So like building this worst case scenario. So you need 30 deals. So in January, we closed one. So we're already at a deficit.
Right.
Right. And so this is where these conversations hopefully will bring some awareness. So that breaks out to what, about 2.5 deals per month. Let's see. Yeah, it's exactly 2.5. Yeah. So what do you have? So watch how this all comes to fruition. So what do you have scheduled to close in February?
In February, I've already closed them both as of Friday.
So you had two closings this month?
Yeah, my next closing is March 10th.
Okay, good. All right, perfect. So this is really good. So you have 3 closed, leaves us with 27. right? This is like some really nitty gritty like coaching conversation. That's why I'm doing these more. So you left with 27. You have one scheduled for March already, correct?
Correct.
And you have one pending. Is that the one that's pending right now that's due to close in March?
That's correct.
All right. So, and active in the ground, signs in the ground, actively showing, we got the $3 million one, correct?
Correct. And then one goes active Thursday, and then another one goes active next Thursday.
Okay, good. All right. So, so we're always backfilling, right? So this is why the business plan, the way I'm looking at this so objectively is like you go and meet with people, you put signs in the ground, they go under contract, you close them. There has to be a meaning behind that. What does the story mean, right? So as you close your 2 in February, we have to replace those, right? And so this is why the business plan is so critical, Stephen. As you move forward, we have to find out how many active listings do we need that end up going pending, that end up closing, so that we can stay on track of that 2.5 deals per month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we break that down, going back to the monthly business reviews, we'll find out. And so that's why everything comes back down to this contact goal. Just to make it more tangible, that you know exactly what you have to do month over month. That number should change. So do you have, and we don't need to go find the business plan right now, but in February and moving forward month over month, when you can see your business at a glance and start to actually look at the numbers like a responsible business owner, and you and your wife get in this, she can help you with this on the ops side. So now we're seeing, okay, what does all this activity mean for us? Right? Because I think people get in the motion of just like making outbound calls, but we got to put some context around that. So I love to see monthly, every month that you guys fill out like the business plan reviews every month, and it'll bring context to you every month to say, okay, what do I need to adjust? What's working? What do I need to continue doing? What do I need to stop doing? And what do I need to like completely add to the business that I'm not doing today so that I can stay on pace? Right now, do you know how to calculate pace?
I mean, maybe I haven't heard you say it that way before.
All right. So here's what we need to do every month, right? So every month is, are we on pace or not? So this comes from like how you calculate income, like in the mortgage world. So your
2.5 listings closed a month is the pace I need to be.
That's the pace, certainly, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's not going to be, you're never going to close a half a deal, right?
Right.
It's either going to be a closing or not. And so you have year to date, you have 3 closings, right?
Correct.
And we're 45 days into the year, right? So if we take those 3 closings, because you need 30, right? So you got 3 closings divided by 45. Okay. So right now you're pacing for 21 deals.
Okay.
Okay. So this is why it's so critical, because it's easy to say, I don't know. It seems though that you're a little behind, that there is a deficit, but the numbers suggest that you are, right? So currently speaking, the way business is going right now, we're tracking for 21. So this is why we need to look at all of these activities, these behaviors, the output, to determine, is what I'm doing today going to get me to where I want at the end of the year? And I'll tell you, and you know damn well what most people do. They don't look at anything. They just get to the end of the year, not hit their goal, and have no reason. They have no understanding of why. You with me on that?
Yeah.
So I just took your pace, because it's exactly February 15th, 45 days into the year. And I divided that by how many deals you've closed. And then I multiply that out 365, right? That's how I got to your pace of 21.9 deals, is what Stephen Bay right now, today, February 15th, 2022, is pacing for if you kept everything the same. So just take that into consideration. I know I threw a lot at you, but once you start once you really are intimate with the numbers, then it starts to become easier to be consistent, because you're like, okay, I know at the end of the month what this feels like when I'm on pace. And so it just makes it easier for you to be more consistent, where you go less and less days with hitting that contact goal.
Yeah, and I'm reasonably, like I told you, I'm still struggling with mindset and consistency, but because of all the evidence I've seen of just what comes from building up a pipeline and
Right.
keeping it going, there's several things that are harvesting and coming up. Like I should be officially taking a $1.3 million listing on Thursday.
Nice.
And that one's, and it's just a lot of things are popping up. I'm finally getting to harvest them. So
Yeah.
in that regard, it's like, okay, I know my continuous efforts as I go forward and the skills I've developed, if I just keep going, I'm going to hit that goal. I just have to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And specifically, it's going to be nice when you and I can sit here and have a conversation and we know that every 47 contacts turns into a listing because we've tracked this for 6 months. Like, you'll have a whole new outlook on what it means to be consistent, what it means to keep going. Yeah, certainly it's easy for you and I to just say, keep going. Yes, absolutely. Keep going. But I like the idea of like putting some really hard numbers on things so that you can just keep proving to yourself over and over again. If you see what I'm saying to you, this is a mindset conversation. It's not a numbers conversation. Once you can paint a picture over the next 4, 5, 6 months, and you know with certainty that every 47 people you talk to, a sign goes in the ground, your mindset of scarcity starts to go away because it's like, I know I can keep duplicating this effort over and over again based on my current skill set. That's bringing meaning to the numbers. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at in this conversation.
I love what you just said there too. Yeah, because that's probably been the biggest thing. I remember getting my very first listing and the imposter syndrome kicking in.
Right.
And I realized all the doubts and the struggles I had with mindset was just thinking that anybody who did hire me, it was a fluke. Is this repeatable? And that's where my beliefs have started to change, is that, okay, this is repeatable. I just have to keep doing the work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's how we started the conversation. It's like, keep proving yourself right and staying away from proving yourself wrong, which is like the devil on our shoulder, right? It's like the two people talking to us. So anyway, cool. All right. So let's jump into Vulcan 7. You've got a couple new, or how many fresh FSBO'S do you have right now?
It's funny. I actually haven't called them in a bit. So for me, it's lots.
Good. All right. So you don't have to share your screen. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Let's just jump in there. Let's keep your phone on speaker. Yes. I'm going to mute myself on this side. All right. And so let's jump into it. Let's get some conversations going and then see what kind of business we can drum up.
All right. Hello, Alicia.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Alicia. My name is Steven. I'm a realtor, and I was just hoping to tell you real quick why I was calling, and from there you can decide whether or not we keep talking. Does that sound fair?
Actually, I've taken the house off the market.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for your call. I just have decided that it's just not time yet. We found the real next house that we want to go to. So,
okay.
We just decided to postpone it.
Yeah.
How long? Yeah.
It's in a great area. Okay, so you're just not sure how long it's going to be before you put it back on the market. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It could be a year though.
Could be as long as a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful house.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've only had it for a short while. We just really want something a little bit more in the woods or with trees in the back or just a little bit more space because we come from the country.
Okay.
But we really can't, but we just haven't found the next place yet. And we
Gotcha.
can't move until then. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in a situation where you realize it doesn't make sense to sell yet because you just don't know where you're going next, right?
Exactly. And with the market being so crazy, it's like, it's just getting out of control.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Alicia. Well, let me ask you this, when you do decide to sell this in the future, I respect the fact that you guys were going to sell this by owner. I think it makes a ton of sense. I was just curious at any point in the future, you might be open to just looking at another option with a realtor if it made sense for you.
You know, I'd be open to working with a realtor. I'll be honest with you. I just took my course in, as an affiliate broker.
Good for you.
And I'm about to take my PSI test. So whoever I land with, then I'll probably just list it with them at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well,
Yep.
Alicia, you know,
How many are you with?
Keller Williams, who are you going to hang your license with?
Oh, okay. Great. Are you over here?
No, I actually have some good friends over in the office. I'm in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, why don't we do this, Alicia? You know, I don't know what your plans are going to be in the future. You might not sell this for a year, but what I can do is send you over my resume just in case you want to fall back on a plan in the future. Does that sound fair?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the best email for you typically?
It's AL.
Just unmute real quick.
Yeah, I noticed I
So,
got muted.
I muted you on purpose when she gave you the email address, so I just keep that private. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, are you still dialing right now?
No, I ended it. Yeah.
All right. So real quick, and I want to get on the next one. So just for context, again, that's why I love the numbers. You made 3 dials, you had 1 good contact, and that was a great conversation. So very agreeable. Like your tonality and you're agreeable. Like people can't throw you off. Like she gave you some objections. So many agents, and I haven't heard you make calls in a little bit. So I'm like, don't get defensive. And you totally didn't. It was so really, really good. Like your skills have come a long, long way. Only little splitting hairs thing is in the beginning of the call. First off, your intro dialed in, like phenomenal, best opening script ever, right? Works really well. But when people start to engage with you, don't be quick to talk. You kind of cut her off 3 or 4 times in the beginning. Let them get every thought out there, right? Because if you try to cut them short, you could raise their resistance unnecessarily. So just let them finish their thoughts, whether that be muddled or not. Other than that, it was a really, really good conversation, really good contact. Obviously, we can't control that she's going to get her license, but you were able to get her email address, add her to the database. It was a really good conversation. Nice job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I learned that from you. That's probably the biggest thing that's helped me in my career in making communication with people is it doesn't matter what they say to me. I just stay agreeable.
That's right.
And I realize I'm way less stressed out. I'm not trying to overcome objections.
That's exactly right. So keep rolling.
Do it. All right. Going off the other one. Other number's correct. She just didn't answer.
The ones that are the right numbers, you should make a note of them. So after your dial session, you go back and text them immediately.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, texts are powerful. Oh,
they're huge. So that's why I like to, well, I don't want to screw up your dial. Let's get through this dial first. Is this a new one?
Same one, different number. Okay.
Okay. So I'm tracking your dials, and you're calling all FSBO'S right now, correct? In Vulcan 7?
Correct.
Okay. So did you so first, I also, going back to the numbers thing, this is kind of the theme of this little session with you, is I would have a little form by you, like as far as tracking your numbers goes, and like just looking at like just tally marks, you know what I mean? So dials, contacts, leads, appointments, just from the morning prospecting session, and just have a 5-day work week built out. So you only have one sheet, it's taped to your desk, and you're just tallying where you're at. But you should be getting about a 10 to 15% answer rate. Okay. So right now you're at 7 dials so far. We're at 1 contact. So from going back to mindset, I know you know this probably, but like, that's why I just go back to the logic. Like I'm only supposed to only have 1 contact so far. Every 10 dials should get me a conversation. Right. So nothing's wrong per se, but I do want to make sure, are you calling from your cell phone registered number?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've tested it to see if I'm coming up as spam, and it hasn't been an issue. But,
beautiful. All right, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that if you need to, are you with Verizon or AT&T? What are you with?
AT&T.
Yeah. So did you get that link I sent out to the group to register your number on so it never shows up as spam?
I think I've saw you posted. I've never registered.
All right, I'm going to tag you in that. So at some point, just go on there. You and your wife can just do it. It takes a minute or two. You fill out the form so that your number is protected, so that they know your number is associated with your business of making outbound phone calls, so it doesn't show up as spam.
Sweet.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah. And it doesn't involve creating a bunch of burner numbers.
No right. Burner numbers.
Cool.
This is with AT&T Direct.
Love it.
Yeah. So let's make a couple more dials. I want to try to get one more conversation before we end this session. But the numbers make sense to you, right? Every 10 dials, you should be getting, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
You're good. Run it.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic.
I'm going to try double dialing this one.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, if it's one you really like, do it.
Hello, Alan. Yeah, hi, Alan. My name is Steven. I'm a realtor. I was just hoping to tell you real quick why I was calling, and from there you can decide if we even keep talking. Does that sound fair? Call back this same number?
Let me get you on a different phone.
Sure thing. I'll call you right back.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Give that guy a few seconds.
Yep. Perfect. That's your 9th dial, second contact. Let's see what Alan's story is. So let's run the play. You know exactly what to do. This will be good.
Hey, Alan, can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you heard me before. My name's Steven. I'm a realtor, and I was just hoping to tell you real quick why I called. And from there, Alan, you can decide if we even keep talking. Does that sound fair? Yeah. Well, as you probably guessed, I saw your home for sale there on Boxcroft Circle, and I understand you're currently selling that by owner. Do I have that right? Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, I 100% respect that. I'm sure you've been getting a ton of calls, Alan. One of the things I wanted to find out is just if you might be open to working with a realtor if they did bring you a buyer who wanted to buy your home. Oh, it's already sold. Gotcha. Okay. Have you already closed on that, or is it just under contract right now? Under contract. Well, good for you, Alan, getting it sold in an hour. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck in the closing. Okay, Alan? Yeah. You have a good one. Bye-bye. Just move on.
Yeah. Yep. So he's out, but that's another great contact. And you hung in the pocket, asked a couple more questions, which was great. Stayed in the pocket just to find out, dug deeper. That guy was just tough to hear. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he was just waking up or what the case was, but yeah, good old Alan seems like he's good to go.
Yeah. All right. Nope. And this next one's already got a realtor.
Leave your name and number, and I'll return your call as soon as.
All right. Stop there.
All
Or
right.
You want one more comment?
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. So again, I always like to look at answer rates because, you know, in this evolution of technology, like I just like to challenge the status quo of people, you know, saying nobody ever answers their phone, which is just not true. So
I got to lead.
The evidence
I got to lead in that little in two answers. I got to lead.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So in you were calling it exactly for 14 minutes, literally. And in 14 minutes, you made 11 outbound dials, 2 people answered, and you got 1 lead into the database. And so that's so interesting to see what happens. I mean, that's just like a little tiny bit of effort. And for you, no pain at all. And so it's just interesting to see how these numbers play out no matter what the market is. The thing now that's going to even move the needle even more is I would love to see you just for sure, because you're so good at them, at least in the morning, calling the fresh for sale by owners, the new ones, because you're only going to get a couple a day, potentially not in the dialer. Like you're going to hand dial them, and the expireds hand dial just the fresh ones. Okay. And if they don't answer, maybe a double dial, but certainly as soon as you hang up the phone, you're sending a text message immediately and not even waiting till after the dial session, right? So we hand dial new FSBO. If they don't answer, we call them again, but certainly when we hang up, we send a text that's just saved in your notes file in your phone that says the same thing, first question in the script, and see if we can you should be able to almost double the contact rate during the same amount of time. So those 22 contacts that we were talking about, like I almost never hit that. I would venture to say that in your power hour that you've committed to yourself, like that 60 minutes a day of prospecting, that your contacts should almost double just doing that one thing we just talked about. And tell me if that works for you. But, the dialer is very good at calling old leads, non-answers, like a wider range of things. But like when we're doing some surgery in the morning, I like to just hand dial like the 3 or 4 fresh FSBO'S because of this tactic alone, right? Call again, text. Like I want that contact immediately. And you already know the value of being the first voice. So I think from a feedback perspective, a coaching perspective, I think you should prioritize being that first contact higher than maybe what you've given it lately. And I think that you'll be able to have a lot more conversations, better conversations, which will ultimately lead to more important appointments.
Yeah,
Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I always wonder, like, what new thing am I going to get out of our talks? And that's definitely new. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I just think that like you're just going to get a lot more out of that. And the fact that you loaded these up because you're like, I haven't done this in a while, tells me maybe did you fall off of like getting at least dialing the fresh ones every day?
Yeah, and honestly, last week I didn't do much dialing because I was servicing my business and taking care of things at home, and so and going on appointments I had already set, but
I will leave you with this. I would say like a new minimum standard for you is that you at least bare bones minimum that you call the fresh FSBO'S, fresh expires. And that might take you 15, 20 minutes a day. Like that's the minimum standard moving forward. And I think what will happen is exactly what happened to me is like, even on the weekends, even Saturday and Sunday, even when I was really pumping them out, it became such an obsession with calling those new ones. It was just like anything else in life, brushing your teeth, whatever.
Every fresh FSBO and expired at least knows your name.
Yeah. And it's like, I just didn't want to lose that opportunity because I know the value of a first conversation with an expired or a FSBO versus being the 10th caller in. It became that important in my business. I think you'll find it will be in yours too, that if I was the first voice with one of these people, it was like unbelievable difference than if they were getting crushed by realtors. Right. So I never let a morning go. 8 a.m. hand dial all the new expireds. By 8:15, you're calling all the new for sale by owners. By 8:30, you're done. So that'd be my recommendation. Whether you find that new habit to be helpful for you or not, you're going to have to test that. I know these are just words over a Zoom session, but I think what you'll find is that if you can just commit to, I'm just calling the new ones. If I feel good and I want to keep going, great. But if I've just got a lot of shit going on, I got to do CMAs and I got to get back to my clients and just things are hectic, at least I got my highest priority conversations out of the way. And I never, ever miss those because who knows what happened last week, how much we left on the table. Because I think that you are in a little bit of a deficit. I think you are a little bit behind pace. And so that'd be the takeaway from today's session overall that I can see, which is the biggest opportunity for your business, is not allowing those fresh new leads right out of the oven not get touched on a weekly basis. Like we got to just get those every day. That'd be my recommendation.
Oh, that's awesome. As always, exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah. So, and again, I think it's probably 15 minutes worth of effort, but I think you're just going to get so much out of it. You just don't let those things stack up like that again,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So cool. It's a lot of fun, brother. I'll see you. You're gonna be on the coaching call Thursday.
I don't think so. I got a busy day.
Yeah, no worries. So I'll make sure you get a copy of the consumer facing listing presentation. You're going to want that. I'm rolling that out on Thursday.
Sweet.
This is what you're going to take with you on the appointment. So go back and watch that video. It'll be recorded. This will really help you on the presentation. I know you know the script really well. Now you'll have a tangible, visible thing to show the consumer as you're going through the conversation.
I love that. Yeah.
Cool.
That's great.
All right, man. Have an awesome day. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Bye.